think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. You know, this is the Motor City and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life. I'm going to try to give you a real lesson today about what's going on in the industry that you have no idea what's happening. And hopefully this will, down the road, will get you this feeling that, man, I've really been enlightened. I really feel the power. That knowledge is going to be power today in today's show, because we're going to talk about V2V. You've seen it on the headlines, vehicle-to-vehicle communications. Oh, it's so innocent. It's so wonderful. We can drive around in our cars and they'll never smash into each other. But you know what? There's some real problems with this technology. So to clarify everything for us today, we've got none other than Chris Sawyer of the virtualdriver.com.
Hi, John. How are you?
Chris, I'm so happy you're here. Because only you.
Well, if I wasn't, there'd be an empty chair here.
I know, and then I'd be talking to just this dark part of the room. But no, I've got you here, and we're going to bring for our viewers the real story about vehicle-to-vehicle technology. Yeah, it sounds really a lot of fun. The government's spending all kinds of money on it.
There's an upside. There is an upside.
It's so wonderful, and everything's good, and the birds are singing. But you know what? There's also a dark side. So we will explore the unspoken evils of V2V right after we find out what's in the news. So here we go. There's yet another silly tech invasion coming out to our cars.
God, another one.
I know. For automakers, there's a software supplier and there's a hardware supplier, and they're all joining forces to call themselves the Open Automotive Alliance.
Oh, it should really be an echo at that point.
Open Automotive Alliance. Yeah. Now, this is just a bunch of guys getting all together to bring Google's new Android platform into cars. Like, we need more Android smartphone technology in our cars. We do,
Google.
because the research says we do. So General Motors, Honda, what did Mr. Henry Ford, the original Henry Ford, say about research? If I asked people what they wanted, they tell me they want a faster horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wouldn't have cars. General Motors, Honda, Audi, and Hyundai are the car companies involved in this program. And Google, of course, is the software supplier, right?
My favorite company.
And the NVIDIA is NVIDIA is the company that's making the graphic processing units. Now you think, oh well, that's good. Then my little screen, I have all these great graphics. And that's not why. It's not that at all. It's this Android device in your car. It's really about developing the technology for connected cars, which we're going to talk about today when we put this guy in the driver's seat in our topic segment. And worse, it's one of the most important building blocks to what people call self-driving or autonomous cars. God help us. God help us if we have self-driving.
Not all bad. Not all bad. It's the other side. It's just think of Germany 1933. Hitler, what can he do?
No, I'm telling you folks, we don't want self-driving cars. If you need a self-driving car, please get a bus ticket. Don't drive your car. Seriously, get on the train. But I digress. I think you must have a headline we can talk about that's not so crazy.
Yeah, it's sort of similar. Think it's bad that the NSA, Amazon, eBay, and everybody has your information? Well,
yeah,
guess what?
Even Flo from Progressive has my information. What is she doing with it?
Well, I think she's selling it on the black market, but that's entirely. The Government Accountability Office says that major automakers are using nav systems to keep information about where drivers have been.
Wait, your in-car nav system?
Mm-hmm.
So the automakers know you?
Oh, sure they do.
You're just looking for a street.
Yes, but it leaves cookies all over the place. It tells you where you are, and it lets them know.
I always like the cookie monster.
The location data is used for real-time traffic info or to help a driver locate a gas station or restaurant.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
But the report says the automakers don't have a uniform policy on how much data is collected or how long it's kept.
Of course they don't.
In addition, the owners have no way of requesting that the information is destroyed. Now, the companies in the report say they don't personally share the identifiable information.
Well, then we have
or
nothing to worry about.
Or sell it to marketing companies.
No.
But the report points out that companies use different safeguard measures which can affect the risks of privacy and the need to specifically tell commuters.
What are you, a Target charge card
Consumers.
customer or something?
Well, the thing is,
Nothing can go wrong.
This has been going on for years. This has been going on for years. And quite honestly, the automakers have been scared silly about this. During the 90s, this scared them more than anything. And they were telling me back then that their big fear was that the government was going to want to do a data dump from the cars.
The black box.
And their whole thing was, no, we will not identify who this car is and who's driving it and all the rest. It will just be a car with this number attached to it,
Right.
and that number will change each time it's turned on.
Okay.
Now that makes a certain amount of sense, and it's in their best interest to do that.
Okay.
But as we will shall find out, all good intentions, et cetera, et cetera.
Why is that? It's just terrible. I'm really feeling nervous about this
Just
technology.
remember the beginning and the ending to the movie, The Usual Suspects. The
Ah.
greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince the world he didn't exist.
There you go.
It really does, unfortunately.
Well, I'm going to change the subject. I'm getting scared already, and we haven't even gotten to the evils of V2V, the topic of the show. For decades, folks, automotive companies have always been talking, what's the holy grail? We're going to have hydrogen cars, and we're going to have, remember the Jetsons, the little car?
Oh, yeah.
I always liked that car. We're going to run on air. There was one guy that had a flywheel. It was just going to wind it up, and it just runs for the rest of the day on a perpetual motion machine. Yeah, that was all cool. But now Ford, these guys, they're working to bring a dream of theirs one step closer. They're working on a solar-powered car, a car powered by the sun.
What do you do in Michigan during the month of February?
I remember back when I worked at the Detroit News, we used to have a contest that you had to guess how many hours of daylight, hours there were in February in Detroit.
Yeah.
Not days.
Hours.
How many hours of daylight? So I don't know. Well, all I know is here's what they're going to do. On top of, they have like a trellis that they have with these solar panels, and they stick it on top of your car, right? And the trick is, the technology they're using, they got some kind of like a concentrator, like a Fresnel lens that concentrate. You know how, like when you were a kid and you had the magnifying glass and you're trying to kill an ant or something on the ground? Yeah, that's the same kind
Oh,
of thing.
you're a cruel bastard.
No, but it's not me. Please don't call PETA on me.
Well, ants going.
No, I was just you just said, wow, look how powerful the magnifying glass, and that's what they're doing to magnify the sun's.
All these little ants going.
Listen,
Yeah.
please, all the ant huggers out there, I'm sorry, I killed an ant. But you may have stepped on one in your lifetime, so don't blame me. But anyway, these lenses that they're working on, they said you could put them, attach them to the top of a current electric car, like a current electric, like the C-Max Energy. Did you get that? I said a current electric.
Yeah, I
Is
got
this
it.
thing on?
I've been ignoring you.
Okay. And you can make it out of plastic, costs can come down. So we could have, okay, maybe not here, all right? Maybe in the Sahara Desert, somewhere in Arizona.
Isn't a Fresnel lens the lens that they use on lighthouses?
Exactly. This is why he's here, folks. That's the same thing that those lenses, because they had that little light, the best light they could get, go through that Fresnel lens, and then the lighthouse would keep the ships from crashing into the shore.
Unless you're in the Edmund Fitzgerald. But
But see, Michigan history, folks, all over this place. Anyway, that's what they're working on. So just keep your fingers crossed.
yeah, well, it'll work and it'll help, but God help us all. Anyway,
Why don't you give me another one?
a new study out of Germany says high-tech gasoline engines emit more particulate matter than older powertrains.
No,
Really?
no, wait. We're talking about a carbureted engine, old powertrain. You mean the fuel, the new direct injected gasoline?
Yes. Remember,
It's
remember my buddy with the fuel additive? We've been talking about this now for I think 4 years actually.
How
and
can
he
this
predicted,
be?
He predicted
How can this
would
be
happen.
possible? I don't believe it.
It really comes down to, and I really think this man is a genius, and I hope he gets this thing going. Fuel injected into an engine.
Right,
There's
direct
called
injection.
there's called a section of the injection called droplet destruction, where the droplet is actually destroyed. It is pulled apart. That is what is causing particulates and carbon, and no one is studying this. This guy has a fuel additive that really does an awful lot of work.
You're not going to get this on Fast and Loud or Wheeler Dealers, folks.
Oh,
you
God,
only
Fast
can
and
get
Loud.
it here.
But
So you're saying
gasoline direct injection emits 1,000 times more particulate particles than regular gasoline engines, and 10 times more than new diesel engines, because diesel engines have particulate filters on them. So,
well, this makes no
and
sense. Makes no
it's the higher cylinder pressures that are doing it. But there's a lot of things going on with the injection. There's a lot of things going on with the fact that the fuel is being attracted to
But
the...
this is how we get the mileage and the power.
No, what happens is over time, it's destroyed. If you look at what's going on with cars today, that they are so powerful in terms of computer on board and
Right.
what they can do, that they are adapting continuously to all of the buildup that's going on in the engine, that if you can get, you will find that your mileage goes down, but that your pollution levels stay really low because that computer is doing so well. Detroit is doing fabulous work, fabulous work.
Wow.
But it's the fuel, and the fuel is being destroyed by the EPA. We'll get into that later.
Speaking about that, I got to tell you this. Remember that show, folks, that we did about Where's My Dipstick?
Wasn't that an after-school special for little boys? Anyway.
No, it was not an after-school special. No, no. Soon, you're going to be asking, like, where is my steering wheel? Because
no.
Joe Babias came on and we did a show about their dipstick and the spare tires are disappearing out of our cars. They're not being stolen. They're not being put in there in the first place. Spare tires to save weight, dipstick because the oil, it's sealed at the factory, and we got a little computer that tells you when you need an oil change. You don't need to check the oil. Craziness.
Okay.
So now, this is getting crazy because now the IHS, which is
That's a consultancy, yeah.
They're saying that self-driving cars, these dreaded autonomous cars, which I just don't believe in, they're right around the corner. And they're saying the day is coming when all cars will be able to drive themselves.
Just be happy that it'll take so long that you and I will both be dead.
See, the nuns that taught me at St. Juliana School down on Chalmers and Longview used to have IHS because they were Servites. They had a thing, and when I got in trouble, the nun said I didn't pay attention to my Latin class. I didn't know what IHS meant. I said, yes, I do. She said, what? I said, I hate school. And I was sent to the principal's office for that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, but this IHS is saying that 230,000 vehicles will be self-driving by 2025, and that 11.8 million by 2030, and that all vehicles, passenger and commercial vehicles, will be self-driving by 2050, and that North America will have the most. Folks, this is horrific news. The joy of driving will be going away, and you'll be you'll be a passenger in a little pod. You'll be I don't believe any of this.
No, you'll still be driver in the loop. Driver is still going to have to be in the loop. This is not a car that you sit there and you put the kids in and you say, take the kids to school while you go back in and have breakfast. No. There's going to have to be a driver in the car.
Well, wait till the lawyers are going to 1-800 call somebody is going to get this.
Call Sam, yeah.
They're going to get this. And folks, here's the bad news. That this technology alone, just this piece of the technology in the cars, will add anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000 to the price of your new car. It's going to be unobtainium.
That'll come down, but there are other problems.
Okay, so.
And one of them is the next thing we're talking about.
We're just at the stage for this V2V technology. There are unspoken evils that you're not listening to because they're not being told to you until we come right back after this. Hi, and welcome back to Cars in Context. I'm your host, John Clor. Today we're talking to Chris Sawyer of thevirtualdriver.com, and Chris, we're talking about the unspoken evils of V2V, or vehicle-to-vehicle technology. Now I want you to, and the reason I wanted you here, Chris, because I wrote down something about V2V, and I know you're going to explain it to everyone at home. Folks, you're going to hear about V2V. You've probably already heard about it on the news. They have the local news, the national news. They say, oh, how great it is that the cars will signal each other and we won't run into the fire trucks anymore, and life will be great, everything's going to be wonderful. But I'm saying to you,
what could possibly go wrong?
That's right. What
Well,
could go
funny thing, I
wrong?
think the Germans said the same thing in 1933. But anyway.
Chris.
I was
you
just
have
with
to-
I was just with Volvo driving their new powertrains, and they are really hot about this. They say they're going to have crash-free cars. That's their whole thing. And you can have crash-free cars with V2V and with autonomous driving and all this other stuff, because 93% of the accidents are caused by driver error.
So
let's be honest.
Let's before we get to look at this little graphic here. What is let's explain to our viewers what is V2V? The vehicle to vehicle what? It's an interface. It's a technology. Are they talking through radar?
Every one of those little
yellow dot
things, circles around the cars is
Yeah.
a "here I am" signal, and it's moving data at the speed of 10 times per second.
Oh, it's like they have their own Facebook page. Here I am.
Yeah, here I am. I'm now having lunch at.
And my car has a hairball.
And what it's telling you is the
Taking the
location, the speed, and the direction of travel.
Okay. So-
And that's benign. That is pretty benign in many ways,
Okay.
Especially if used correctly.
all right.
And now the thing is, a lot of the automakers are saying this needs to be on board. We need to basically have to have a Wi-Fi hub and all of this information, sending this out to other vehicles,
So
all encrypted over 59 gigahertz.
Okay, so it's not just the vehicles. It's like you can talk to the stoplight, a police car going by.
That's
would have
that's V2X. That's vehicle to infrastructure.
Okay, so
And,
the
and
V2V.
that's another reason I don't like Google, is because Google wants to hijack that and put ads all through that and send them into the car.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, so V2V, the vehicle knows. Your vehicle knows where every other vehicle is.
Mm-hmm.
So to be nice, play nice in the sandbox. It's trying not to
So
crash.
it's getting all that information, and so when
think
the
that's
car ahead of you sits there and sharply turns to the left in front of you,
right.
now your car knows it, prepares for it. The cars behind you know it,
Okay.
and so they're all prepped and ready to stop, and accidents are avoided. Here's where things get really ugly.
Okay.
Let's take this a little farther. One way NHTSA is saying to do this is don't put it on the car, do it through GPS. So now you have a GPS transponder on your car, plus it plugs into your system and says how fast you're going, what direction you're going, and all the rest. It's going up to a GPS satellite owned by the government.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The NSA has proved they could hack anything.
Wow.
But here's something that's
Wow.
even crazier, and something that I talked about to you just before the auto show. I ran across something that said that Google Glass, which they just got the okay in California, the woman won her lawsuit
Yep.
because there was nothing specifically saying she couldn't have her Google glasses on while she was driving.
Right.
Google wants to have face recognition software so that when you walk up to somebody, you'll go, oh, that's John Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. You're in your car. You've got your Google glasses on. You've got your face recognition software. The NSA now hacks into that and can look through that and look at everybody
wow.
who is in your field of vision.
See now, folks, this is totally different than beer goggles, which you have face recognition software. in the
Honestly,
bar.
she was a lot
Everybody-
better looking last night.
She looks good at 2 a.m.
That's
and that's what
right.
happened. Now this is Google Glass, and that technology, if
It's here today.
I mean, that's easily doable. That's something-
Absolutely
They
easily
can tap into
doable.
that technology right now.
Absolutely.
And with that is a
So
dangerous.
we have to have some really good safeguards on this, because V2V does make a lot of sense. It will cut down most of, and if for example, I show up in my little Lotus Elan once I finally get it on the road this summer, and I veer in front of your car, it's still talking to all of the other cars that are V2V equipped,
Oh, okay.
and it is adapting to what I'm doing. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot stop everything. Nothing can. I mean, Microsoft doesn't have the blue screen of death for nothing. But
Right.
the potential is that 76% of traffic accidents could be eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
And most, Dave McCollum, who is the Gen, whatever it was, 4 Corvette, Gen 5, chief engineer, Gen 4, he said to me that GM knew years ago from all the studies that they did that if they could cut out 5 separate things, that they could eliminate most all traffic accidents. Well, we're at that point.
Right.
But how much of our safety, how much of our freedom are we willing to give up?
Thank you so much for saying that, Chris, because this is
It's a
the
problem.
point. Here is the point we're trying to make with V2V. It's a good thing if we take traffic accidents out of the equation. It's a good thing if we make people safer. But there's the little piece of business people don't talk about. It's just like with our emission controls. We've got 99% of the way there. The cost to go that last 1%
it's
to clean
ungodly.
the air is ungodly. We've gone, our cars nowadays, you've seen it on television. You've seen a police chase. A guy does 60 miles an hour to a brick building, door pops open and he runs away. He's fine. If you did that and you were taking driver's ed in 1968 and you saw that movie, he would be in pieces, falling out of the car and bones. It'd scare you with that. What cost are we going to give ourselves, assign to ourselves, to go to get the last 50,000 freeway deaths that were just inevitable, we say? If they're not inevitable. But here's my point. The point is, there are more people dying today from overdoses of prescription drugs than there are on our highways and byways. Our roads and our cars are safer than ever in the history of the automobile in 100 years. And to continue to regulate this industry, Chris, to the point of insanity to this technology, go regulate something that has a bigger impact on more lives, like drug overdoses or other problems we have in society, and get out of my knickers in my car.
Okay, there's a reason for this, though.
All right.
People interact with their cars every day.
Right.
It's the same reason that they go after fuel economy. It's the same reason they go after emissions. You're interacting with that vehicle every day. You see it. You can say, I did something and get reelected. That's the whole reason.
It's horrific. It's a nasty problem. Now, if they really cared about global warming, oh wait, we don't call it warming anymore because it's so freaking cold. We call it climate change. And folks,
and guess what? The climate's been changing since the day that.
And it will change because it's going to be spring soon. And that's what climate change. You know, by the way, we weren't here when the ice age was around, and then it somehow melted. Global warming happened. The dinosaurs did it. We blamed it on
dinosaurs had SUVs.
Yeah, they were driving around in pickup trucks and didn't get 25 miles per gallon. It's a terrible thing, folks. Let's not lose sight of reality. The reality is this technology could go to the point where your freedom, the basic freedom of being an American.
We saw it with what happened post 9/11, what the NSA took on as their role, and how they expanded it to get rid of your Fourth Amendment rights.
Correct. And now
the same thing could happen here.
A basic tenet about being an American is the ability to be mobile, to move about freely without encumbered by, I got to tell somewhere I'm going. I don't want you to know that I'm at 2 in the morning at 7-Eleven getting a Slurpee because they're illegal in this size.
And you know what? If you do that, they'll be able to say, you got a Slurpee, so your premiums are going off on your health care.
Folks, it's a nasty, unspoken, horrific evil. Write your congressman, tell them no.
Tell the busybodies to go bother somebody else.
And that's why it's so important you're watching Cars in Context. But you know what? There's more to it.
There is?
Yeah. We're going to have to come back and revisit that topic because right now is the time for one of my favorite segments on the show.
Pride in my ride.
You've been here before.
Yes.
Yes.
Many times.
Folks,
people are getting tired of me.
We'll come back to V2V someday because this isn't going away.
No.
We want to tell you about
It's a
Pride
gift
in My
that keeps
Ride.
on
It's a
giving.
great part of the show where you can send me a picture of your car and tell me why you have pride in your ride, and we'll put you on the air. But this one, Chris, here we go. People from around the area are not sending me pictures. So I'm getting friends of mine who are going on our YouTube channel.
Well, good for them.
And they're saying, hey, can I get my car on your show? And I say yes. So this featured car is 2014 Ford Mustang MCA edition sent to me by a guy named Chris Sawyer, who lives about an hour north of Philadelphia. Look at the...
They've had some snow.
They got some snow. Look at that brand new MCA edition. Means it's a Mustang Club of America edition based on the V6 Coupe, which has a little bit of handling package. It's got all the razzle-dazzle.
That's a nice
little car. He sent me these photos because he wanted me to know that he's been driving this winter on all the big snowstorms with his rear-wheel drive.
Are those snow chains?
He said, here's what he writes to me. John, who would ever thought you'd see old-fashioned snow chains on a 2014 Mustang? Yes, I said snow chains. With some weight in the trunk and chains on, I was able to get through a 9+ inch snowfall today here outside of Philadelphia. This car is my everyday driver. I love driving it every minute. I ordered it in April 2013, picked it up on July 1st, and drove it straight to Asheville, North Carolina for its first Mustang show, where it took a first place in the Judge's Choice category.
Oh, very good.
He said he has 10,597 miles on his brand new 2014. Thank you, Chris Hall, outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for sending in. I'm glad you have pride in your ride. But folks, where's our local Pride in My Ride? Send me some pictures. J. Clor, carsincontext.com, and we'll put you on the air just as well. But you know what? There's even a better part of the show.
Oh, a viewer mail.
Yes, and Lauren Parrott from WMTV herself is going to make an appearance and see if we have viewer mail. Lauren, do we have viewer mail?
You guys always have viewer mail.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Hot off the presses. Look, it's still warm from the printer.
Oh.
Or is that Lauren's hand?
I think that's just Lauren.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Chris, It says here that you have one and I have one. Why don't you take that first one? I'll let you go.
This comes to us from Mike Z of Grosse Pointe Farms, who's watching Cars in Context on Comcast cable channel 915.
That means it's an HD.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You guys, I love these you guys.
You guys.
He must be from, he was from Philadelphia too.
Mike.
Always seem to complain about all the new government mandated technology that's coming into our new cars, but have you ever considered how much safety and emissions technology that we still wouldn't have if the government didn't force the automakers
Thank
to
you,
produce
government.
it? Well, Mike, I hate to tell you,
Wait.
you're wrong.
What? No, he's saying that if they didn't force it to have airbags. and-
Mike,
What?
who started working on airbags? Wasn't the government. They started back right after the war.
But-
It was entrepreneurs who wanted a way to make things safe.
But we have cafe standards. We would never want better mileage.
Fuel economy, according to 2 studies, one from MIT and one in Virginia, said that our fuel economy would actually be higher and our emissions would be lower if the government hadn't gotten involved. Why? It's called peer pressure. And you know how it works with giant corporations? Is that one guy goes out there, much like Lee Iacocca did, and he goes and he says, I'm going to put airbags in, then everybody has to follow.
Right.
And let me tell you, that's how the world really works.
You mean a
Force-
free market could do better?
Free
than-
market, yeah, something that we're losing very quickly.
Well, Mike, thanks for your question. I'm sorry you didn't probably get the answer you were
You
looking
thought you
for.
were
But hey,
expecting,
you
yeah.
know, that's the risk. You send it to jclark@carsandcontext.com, you're going to get the straight answer. That's why
right.
you watch Cars in Context.
So you've got one too?
Yeah, it says here, this one comes to us from Mary C. of Grosse Pointe Woods. She watches us on Comcast channel 915. Again, we're
Just
in high
HD.
definition. So it says, Dear John, thank you, Mary, loved your 2 episodes on the Detroit Auto Show. Yeah, that's the 2nd year in a row we've done that. And how you covered the show in vehicle segments this year. Last year, 2013, go back to our YouTube channel, Cars in Context TV on YouTube. We did every automaker. This year, 2014, NEIS 2 shows, we did it by segment. She loved that. Why don't you guys, another you guys, it means probably you and I,
Well, we were the
why
ones
don't
in
you
the
start
show.
give your recommendations for the best vehicles to buy in each segment? Why don't we just go to the segment and talk about the vehicle? Why aren't we telling people, like all the magazines, this is the best one? Why aren't we picking them out? That's a great question, Mary. Why doesn't Cars in Context tell people what to buy?
We're smarter than that.
No, what do you mean?
Well, think of
We
it this
know
way.
we've been around
Think
a
of
long
it this
time.
way. You can have yeah, you can have Cars of the Year, and it's it gives you an idea of all that sort of stuff. But everybody's different. Everybody has different needs.
Yeah.
Everybody has different desires. Everybody has different things they look for in
It's
in
a free
vehicle.
country, folks.
And quite honestly, the best thing to do is to say these are the best picks in this segment, and let you pick from those.
Yeah, we're just trying to give you the knowledge and
Exactly.
the power
I just
to
went
make your
through
own
this.
decision.
I just went through this with my nephew, and finally somebody in the family who realizes what I do for a living and decided to come to the Oracle for help.
Your nephew still talks to you after you only give him a quarter for his birthday?
Yeah, but he's older. He's got more money than I do. and Ryan had I said, here's what you need to do. He was looking at this subset of cars. I said, no, you need to expand that and look at these, and here's why.
Yeah.
These cars are bigger. These cars are smaller. Go to these cars first and then come back. It's really what you need to do. We can give you ideas, but we're not going to make the decision for you.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. I think my dad said that, but we didn't have any horses. And I gave the water to my goldfish, but they didn't make it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
probably too much water.
I think so.
They drown.
No, I don't think so. But folks, this is why we don't, pick one or the other. We have our own opinions. I'm a decidedly Detroit guy. I prefer you keep your money in the United States of America. And, it was built in Ohio. Yeah, but the profits go overseas. So it's not where it's built. It's where really the company is. But that's why you watch Cars in Context. We want to thank you for watching. Chris, we want to thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
For another edition. And folks, we hope you enjoyed it. Remember, until next time, that knowledge is power. I'm your host, John Clor, and thanks for watching.